I'm Caitlin, and this is the final part of my networked learning project. For this project, my learning goal was to decorate a cake using fondant. Fondant is a malleable frosting decoration for cakes. I'm not a novice to cake decorating. I've decorated a lot of cakes using frosting, but I've never decorated a cake using fondant, and it was much more difficult than I thought it would be. I used a lot of different resources, but the most helpful to me were YouTube videos because I could see the process, I could see what was happening, and rewind if I needed to. Another helpful tool was Instagram because they have short videos, so it was sort of the same setup. I found a couple help forums, but they were less helpful because there were a lot of different topics being covered. It wasn't just fondant, so I found what benefited me, but there was a lot to sift through. I also tried using Reddit, but there was not an affinity space on Reddit for fondant other than to make fun of it, so I did not find that helpful at all. Throughout this video, you will see pictures and short clips of me covering a cake with fondant, and I hope you enjoy. The first thing I did was bake 2 round cakes and frost them with buttercream. Both recipes I got from howtocakeit.com, which is linked below. I crumb coated and chilled and then put another layer of frosting. These are the main materials I used for decorating with fondant. The cake turntable was beneficial, not necessary, but I thought it was very helpful. The fondant is pre-made. I got both black and white. The color you'll see later, I used gel food coloring to make decorations, and then this toolkit I also got from Amazon has all of these tools in it that were very helpful. So right now I'm taking out my pre-made black fondant and preparing the surface with powdered sugar. This is a trick I learned from a Craftsy video on YouTube. I learned not to use flour. I used my rolling pin and prepped with a little bit more powdered sugar on the top so that my rolling pin wouldn't stick. So I'm rolling it out, and you'll see me stop. I get a straight pin, another trick I learned from that Craftsy video, to pop any air bubbles. You don't want air bubbles because later on that will make your fondant not look as smooth. So I kept rolling until it was big enough, and then I measured that the fondant was big enough to fit around my cake. If you visit my previous blog, you will find out what happened when I did not measure and it was not big enough to fit on the cake. So I carefully pick it up and drape it over the center of the cake. And I'm going to work it down a little bit and try to get it to fit around the cake. And then I'll use that fondant smoother that is on the left of the screen to smooth it flatter to the cake and get it more flush. So I just keep working it until it's pretty smooth. But there's a lot of extra fondant on the bottom, so I'm using a sharp paring knife to get some of that extra fondant off, and then going back in and touching up. So at this point I realized there was some cracks and some stretching, so I used a paste of water and fondant to fix those. And then I also learned that you can use brushes and water to kind of glue fondant decorations on, so that's what I'm doing right here. I finished the cake off with some extra frosting and sprinkles, and my colleagues definitely were able to benefit from my learning. While YouTube was my main source of information, it really was a combination of technological tools that taught me this new skill. The internet proved to be a successful teacher for me throughout this process. I had fun learning something new and plan to continue to learn to use fondant. Hopefully this will inspire you to learn something that you've always wanted to learn as well. Check out my blog for more information.